Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's great to be here. Dr. Wilson, thank you. Dr. Parikh, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Dr. Shirley, thank you. I think we should call you Dr. Boss Lady, right? Is that it? No, Dr. Malcolm, thank you. I know how difficult it is to be a woman in any industry and to be a leader at your level. Really, really grateful for that. And Sam Gill, is he here? There you are. Thank you as well for the remarks that you made. And Dr. York, thank you. And to the faculty and all who have joined today, thank you for being here. I'm humbled to be in the company of so many pioneers from across our state who bring a lot of magic. And it turns out there was a lot of magic going on earlier this week in Morgan State University. I believe it happened on Monday morning when Magic Johnson came to visit the university. That's pretty big news, Dr. Wilson. And then we had some more magic from Morgan State University at the state capitol when the Morgan State University choir came to share their beautiful talents and song to all of us in the state assembly. So really, really grateful for their talents, as well as music director Eric Conway, who led the whole choir. So it's an honor to be here amongst all of you and the distinguished community leaders as well. So President David Wilson, I salute you. Because President Wilson, you took the helm of Morgan State University nearly 13 years ago. You stepped up to lead the university that was already admired nationally for the excellence, for research, for the vision, and for the success that it is known for. You took that tradition and you elevated it. Under your leadership, Morgan State University has cemented its place as one of the best places to receive a college education in the United States, not just in the state of Maryland. And at the heart of that success has been your focus on STEM education. Today, Morgan State is the largest producer of Black engineers in the state of Maryland. That's something to clap about. It's pretty remarkable. As a nation, systemic barriers have actively discouraged students of color to seek quality STEM education. Thus, I'm grateful for President Wilson's leadership, which has inspired STEM departments across the nation to retire models that attempt to fix underrepresented students of color in STEM while sidestepping the more critical work of fixing themselves as academic institutions. Our most pressing challenges of the 21st century, from climate change to healthcare to economic growth, will require problem-solving skills rooted in STEM. And it will require a diversity of thought, because the harsh truth is women and people of color have been locked out of STEM revolution for far too long. And for me, as a woman of color, this isn't just theoretical, it is personal. I'll never forget the first day when I arrived to this country. As was said earlier, I was 7 years old and I'm originally from India. I remember stepping off the airplane in New York in my dad's arms, and I looked into the airport and I see a whole bunch of people waiting in the airport, none of whom looked like me. But gosh darn it, I was so excited. I looked at that whole crowd and I thought, holy moly, I love this country. Look at all these people waiting for my dad and me to arrive, right? And I got even more excited when I thought they were throwing confetti to further welcome us. Turns out it wasn't confetti, it was snow. And I'd never seen snow before in my life. But I have never stopped being excited for the promise of this great country. But I also know the challenges of being a stranger in a strange land. In fact, I've spent most of my life trying to fit into a space that didn't have me in mind. Whether it was being an immigrant in a new country, where English was my second language, or as a female engineer in a male-dominated field, or as an Indian American legislator in a legislature that looked nothing like me. It took me a long time to realize that it was never about my need to fit into a space that was created by others. It was always about having the courage to be my authentic self in every space. And so it is each of our responsibility to make sure that our students feel safe and feel beautiful in their own skin. Because once they realize this and realize just how uniquely beautiful that they will rise in ways that we could have never imagined. And policymakers play a tremendous role in confronting structural imbalances and addressing decades of underinvestment in disadvantaged communities. In 2018, as a Maryland State delegate, I was the lead sponsor of a bill called Computer Science Education for All. At the time, only 40% of our public high schools were even offering computer science to their students. So that means 60% of the high schools were being left behind in our state. 60% that were primarily made up of students of our Black and brown communities and of lower economic status. The bill mandated every public high school in Maryland to provide a computer science course, and it prioritized funding for high poverty school district areas. And in just 5 years, here's what the numbers show about the students taking computer science classes in the state of Maryland. 600% increase in the number of Black students, 700% increase in female and Hispanic students, 700% increase in the number of students with disabilities. Equity and access in education is a great equalizer. Governor Moore and I are committed to investing in K through 12 education, and we propose record level of funding of $8.8 billion that will increase funding to support low-income students and to attract diverse educators. We also know that we need to make sure that Maryland's 4 HBCUs have the tools that they need to build STEM programs on campus. The Moore-Miller administration is calling for more than $165 million in capital investment for Maryland's 4 HBCUs. That includes funding for 2 different projects right here at Morgan State. First, a $60 million investment to complete Morgan State's Health and Human Services facility. And second, $18.5 million to support construction of Morgan's new Science Center. The governor and I are committed to building a Maryland that leaves no one behind. And these investments are designed to help us do exactly that. And as we work to deliver results here in our state, we're also working closely with our federal partners to bring more resources for our nation's capital, from our nation's capital into Maryland. Congress has recently enacted new legislation to boost research opportunities on HBCUs, and that legislation has a potential to deliver historic investment to Morgan State University and University of Maryland on the Eastern Shore. The Moore-Miller administration looks forward to partnering with Maryland congressional delegation to secure those funds and supercharge research programs right here in Maryland. By prioritizing equity in STEM education, we can build a state with leaders that look like each one of us. Maryland is uniquely poised to seize this moment and drive the innovation economy. But to get there, we need to harness the full power of institutions like Morgan State and your peers. We need to take advantage of our top-tier federal research facilities like NIST and NIH, and we need to recruit talent from all communities of all backgrounds. As an engineer and the 10th Lieutenant Governor of Maryland, you should know that one of my priorities is going to be to highlight, to elevate, and to recruit people of color and women with STEM backgrounds. As part of it, that's going to be part of my policy agenda. So again, on behalf of Governor Wes Moore, myself, and our entire administration, Thank you for the great role that you play in the state of Maryland, the way in which you are educating the future of the state of Maryland. And we thank you for everything that you're giving to our state. And we also want to say thank you for giving us this profound opportunity to serve you